I read over the weekend a fascinating book. It's called The Blood of Lambs. Kamal Saleem. What a story of a man who started at 7 years old into the Muslim Brotherhood, became a stone-cold killer. I mean, what a story this is. And we've all heard stories about underground movements or radical Muslims, but Kamal Saleem has firsthand knowledge of them because he was a ringleader in one of them.
When Kamal Saleem was 7, he smuggled weapons into Israel as a child soldier for Yasser Arafat. As a teen, he was already an explosive expert and was recruited by the PLO and other radical Muslim groups. Kamal's reputation for ruthless violence in the name of jihad grew. Then, while on a mission to convert others to radical Islam in the U.S., a life-changing crisis completely turned his life around.
Please welcome to the 700 Club the author of an extraordinary book called The Blood of Lambs, Kamal Saleem. Hey, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
You don't look like a killer. What is it? You look so benign.
The transformation clearly take place physically and spiritually, before and after.
Your father was a blacksmith in Lebanon. He was a pretty rough guy. When you were going to work for pennies a day, you got beat up by 3 gangs in Beirut of various. Some of them were Druze, and some of them were Christians, and some of them were, I guess, extreme Muslim. What happened?
When a child, he become an asset for his family just to bring finances, the world out there, just leave its marks on him. And that was a door for me to come about, to know the Most High God through, just those series of different events.
Well, you got Imam came out and put his arm around you and said, "You're one of us." Now, then they went to these bullies and told them, "If you touch this guy again, you got to deal with us." And it was the Muslim Brotherhood. They don't play with those guys.
No, they are very feared because these men, they truly carry the torch for the Khalifa. After the Khalifa went down in 1924, 4 years later, they rose up in Egypt, and then they spread through the Muslim world. And they are there to let everybody know that they are there to change the world and usher on Khalifa all over again.
When you were a kid, you were taught that if you died as a shaheed in battle against the infidels, you were going to paradise, and they were going to give you, what was your reward?
The first reward, the first drop of blood, you become the savior, the Messiah, almost the intercessor, and you become intercessor for 70 of your family members. These will go to heaven without judgment, because the Quran teaches that everybody will have to go to hell first, pass through it, and then they will have to go through heaven.
But if you shed 1 drop of blood in the war of jihad, you intercede for 70 of your family?
70, and then you get 70 virgin, and with every virgin you get 72 virgin.
Hey, that's a lot of virgins.
Yes, I told my dad one time, I said, "You have my mom and you have many issues with her. How are you going to deal with all those virgins, up there?"
What did he do, hit you?
Well, the lesson was learned, in Islam, you don't question Islam. You live and you follow. You hang all your identity outside and you walk as a subservient. You're truly a servant and slave to that religion.
Well, the truth is your mother would have got nothing. Is that right? Women don't get anything.
Absolutely. My mom, at best case, she'll become one of my dad's haram, which is, one of the women.
And that's it?
That's it.
They really believe that?
Well, it's a religion. It's for the men, the majority. Men get more, so men get double for everything.
But it's so emphasized on sex. It seems like there's just a tremendous emphasis on sex.
Well, I mean, you have multitude of young men out there, and the teaching of Muhammad was teach your children how to swim, how to surprise the enemy from blind places, how to shoot from childhood, how to ride. All these are methods of war.
Yes.
These are commandment. These are Sharia law. And now, when you're learning all this and you're bringing children about when they become older, they are military, ready to march.
Well, your mother, for example, would believe that if you got killed in battle, that you were really going to paradise, that this was a great thing.
Well, my mother said, my son, you know, two things you have to learn. You die for Allah and you go to heaven. The second one is if you kill a Jew. Killing a Jew is a glorious thing. She said, your hand will light up before the throne of Allah. And even Allah will celebrate your coming as a Jew killer. You know, even the host of heaven will celebrate you.
You hold up your right hand and it will glow, and Allah will welcome you into heaven as a Jew killer?
That's right.
They taught you that as a little kid, little boy?
My mother, 5 years old. I used to meditate every night going to sleep, how I'm going to go to heaven. I even had a dream that one day, you know, I was murdering Jews and Christians, and that day I was killed, and I was ushered before the throne of Allah.
Well, you've got the title Blood of Lambs because you were one of the little sacrificial lambs who was sent on a mission into Israel. What happened?
Yasser Arafat, I was 7 years old. We went all the way to Syria, to the Golan Heights. We had underground tunnels, and we manifested with weapon, and we rendezvoused with the shepherd. The shepherd strapped on the belly of the sheep, and they killed hundreds of innocent Jews with the weapon that we took them over there. They used the children as just, you know, for their cause.
Well, they were ready for you the next time, though. What happened then?
Next time we came about, it was they were waiting for us, and the shepherd, the sheep, everybody was dead, and it was just a massacre at that time, you know, and the Syrian entered the fight with the Israeli at that time, and I carried my best friend on my back, and that's the only one who was saved, you know, from all the 17 kids that we went over there.
Everybody died except you, and you had your best friend on your back, and he was like a shield.
Yes.
He was dead, his body.
He was 1 year older than me, and I promised his mom I'll bring him back alive. That day when he took the shrapnel, I threw him on my back and I started running toward the Syrian border. He became my shield that day. He took every bullet. The child I'm supposed to save saved my life.
The handlers recognized this was a suicide mission. They didn't think any of you were coming back.
They told us, you know, we did even prayers. We washed, we cleansed, like we about to go to prayers, and we entered the field, and we knew that this could be engaging, you know, but we didn't know that we were going to be slaughtered that day.
Why didn't that turn you off, that they were using you that way? Why didn't you just get disgusted and quit?
You see, when you are brainwashed by your family, and now you become, you know, your life, you have a goal in your life, and you're dying for the sake of Allah. You're living for Islam. Now your life becomes, it has a purpose. Many young Muslim children don't have purpose. Many of them becoming martyrs because they have no place to go, and they're told, on one hand, you know, if you go, you die for the sake of Allah, you go to heaven. Number two, they are getting paid too. Muslim Brotherhood pays people, you know, we went to Afghanistan and all those places. They were paying. When you go into die, you know, many countries pay, including Gaddafi, you know, Saddam at that time, and also the Assad of Syria. They were paying, you know, a good sum of money, up to $30,000.
If you died?
Yes.
To your family. I want to fast forward a little bit. You've got a fascinating point in this book where a friend of yours introduced you to an enormously wealthy Saudi. Tell me about that.
Well, many of the Saudi live the life, they don't live the life of Islam. Many of them live in London. They live in, you know, different places where they live two different life. In Saudi, they're holy, and outside of Saudi, they're unholy. And when I went to meet with the sheikh, you know, and he is from the Saudi bloodline, when I met with him, you know, I read to him from the Quran, you know. The Quran commanded that every Muslim must fight. If you could not fight physically, you have to fight financially.
Ah, okay.
And if you don't fight financially, Allah will replace you with better Muslim, and you have no place in heaven. So therefore, you know, as I was reading out of the Quran, he has blessed me, you know, that day with a big, big sum check, you know, to advance Islam. And that was the start of millions of dollars. Millions? Millions. And that was in the 70s.
Well, he wasn't an observant Muslim, really.
No, he was not.
What are those guys? You were saying that they liked you. You could procure prostitutes in Europe for them, and little boys. And what else did they go for?
The PLO understood how to play these men. One of our mission training was, if the Saudi does not pay us money, is to go and bomb the oil wells in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in Qatar, in Bahrain. So the Saudi and all these places were afraid of us. But in the meantime, when we had the offices, our PLO office, you know, the Saudi would come to us and we entertain them. The entertainment took two double-edged sword. The first one is to get the money out of them. The second part is to have something on them with pictures and stories and names.
Yeah.
So you collect that against them and then you turn it.
So you had cameras. They'd have these women and you'd have cameras filming them.
Absolutely. You know, we had pictures at that time galore, and Yasser Arafat had them in his, you know, specific place, you know, just to use them anytime he needed to.
How much money are you talking about from these guys? Do you have any idea?
I raised about over probably 50, 60, you know, $million in the 70s.
Yeah. And you were just a youngster.
I was young, but I thought I was doing glorious thing for the kingdom of
Arafat
Allah.
himself got billions, didn't he?
He got more than billions.
More than billions?
Yes, he had several accounts. We knew about accounts in Switzerland. We knew about accounts in the United States of America, England, everywhere, even in Kuwaiti banks, you know. And he got his accounts split everywhere, and his wife hold 50% of his accounts.
Well, that's one of the reasons nobody killed him, because they didn't know who would get the money.
That's right.
Well, you write in here about an affair with the sheikh's daughter. Well, what about these Saudi girls? They want to get free of this oppressive religion?
The truth is, last year, over 6 million Muslims came to Christ.
Yes.
You know, many, many Muslim, young Muslim are hungry and thirsty for the coming of the Lord, you know. And Jesus said, I will build a church and the power of hell could not prevail. And Muslims are coming to Christ by the coming of Christ appearing to them, or they're hearing the word of God through a TV station or through a radio station, and God moving in glorious power. And many of them have the encounter, like in Iran, when we went underground in Iran, the coming of Christ, he appears to group underground as they are gathering together, and he speaks to them. And these people are in the government, in the Khomeini government, in many places that they are Christian today.
He is actually appearing to them.
He is manifesting physically, and they see in the coming of Christ, and they believe.
Well, you were hired, though, when you came to America. You came to destroy this country, and you point out the fact that you were one of many who's here to undermine America.
That's very true. After fighting in Afghanistan, after training the terrorists from all over the world in Libya, you know, right there under Gaddafi leadership, I came to the United States of America for several purposes, to usher Islam underground and advance Islam, because culture jihad is stronger than 9/11. Culture jihad is coming against the American seeds, the children and grandchildren who have no hope. And it thrives on the poor, on the weak, downtrodden, the gang-ridden area, prison system. And so we studied everything in America. What is the weaknesses, you know, of America? And now we took the weak and we told them, this is what the rich American doing to you. You know, you are the servant, and Muhammad came for such thing like this. Our heart desire was specifically the black community, because we told them that you are a slave, you know, you've been enslaved, and we come in here to free you. But we did not tell them the other part of the message, which is slavery today only permitted in the Muslim world and nowhere else.
That's right, that's right. What do you think, if Jesus is appearing to people? I mean, I know he's going to win, but who looks like he's winning the battle right now? Are there so many Muslims coming to Christ that it's going to turn the tide, or are they trying to undermine us? Who gets there first?
There are several groups of Muslims, but they are uniting together. As you see, Hamas and Hezbollah under the leadership of Iran, Sunni and Shia. So they're realizing today that if they don't rise up to become zealot Muslim, they're going to lose the battle in Islam itself, because many Muslim men and women are becoming Christians. They're attending underground churches worldwide, including Saudi.
Really?
It's happening in Saudi. It's happening in UAE. I went to Qatar about 9 years ago, when it was still strict Islamic. We went to church underground, and they were from every nation and tongue, 600-700 Muslim men and women praising and worshiping God.
That must be terrifying to the Muslim leaders that this is happening.
It is. That's why radical Islam on the rise. You know, you see what's happening in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, and you see what's happening in Iraq right now and Iran. More people are getting killed under the Islamic laws than the Chinese history, which is China used to kill every day millions, I mean every year millions. And now the Muslims are leading.
Do you think these guys are going to try some overt attack against America? Something like an atomic bomb, something like that?
This has been studied from the time I came to the United States of America in the 70s, from the Canadian border without passport, without visa, crossing the Canadian border. We were trying to see what's the best route to bring something to the United States, whether from the oceans or whether from the Canadian border or the Mexican border. And this has been studied even today. You see there's tunnels underground, exactly the same tunnel as they are in Gaza strips. Just, you know, and these people are trying everything. And they're trying to bring civil mechanism in here, but they could not put it all together. The waiting is on Iran. The sooner Iran has their weapon, the sooner the story will finish. 9/11 would be nothing in comparison.
It's horrible to contemplate. Is your life in danger?
Absolutely.
It is?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, one time I was speaking at this place. It was a big ministry in Colorado. And as I was speaking there was 4 Pakistani came looking for Kamal Saleem. And they came to that ministry and they said, surrender Kamal Saleem and everybody will be safe. That day I walked right through them and they didn't know who I was. And the same, every place, 3 different instants, we walked through them. And God is, my time is not up.
No,
I'm here
not.
for such time as this.
Kalim, Kamal, I wish we could talk longer. Ladies and gentlemen, this book will blow your mind. I read a lot of books, but this is one of the greatest ones I ever read. It's fascinating, very well written. He had a lady named Lynn Vincent who was writing with you. She's a very skilled author.
She's anointed.
Is she ever?
Yes.
I mean, it's a great book. So it's available. The Blood of Lambs. Fascinating. Available wherever books are sold. Come on, that's so good to see you. May the Lord give you strength and protection, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you.
God bless.